So, I just want to say thank you for everything. Like, I'm really happy that this channel has been able to get as popular as it has with nearly 59 subscribers. I'm quite happy about that achievement. While it isn't much in the grand scheme of things, I am really happy that I was able to make it this far. And now I'm trying to get to 100 as my next goal. And I really want to say thank you. It does add a lot of support, and I'm sorry I've been like basically shadow listed myself for nearly 4 months. I just kind of had a stressful 4 months. It was just some personal stuff I had to deal with, but it's fine. There's nothing to worry about. As currently, I am really happy that I can get back to this. And another thing I want to say is for the thanks for getting my first video on here to nearly 1K viewers, which like one well views, but pardon my language, but I really liked that it managed to get that much views. Thank you very much. I gotta say, like, this is essentially like my 1 year anniversary, even though my university was like 5 years ago. Well, now 5 months ago, but since this is like, I've already passed since I released my original video, and I gotta say, like, thank you. I've never felt more happy. And now I'm gonna try to post more consistently from now on. And like, and there's already so much I have to talk about. And I already, like, I really wish I could make more. And if you have any requests like of videos, I wouldn't mind you dropping those in the comments, since I wouldn't be mind to like go and like, as long as they're bad enough and have enough unique points in them, I wouldn't mind doing a video on it. But there is one issue I do there is one issue. It just doesn't have to have any repeated points that I've already seen to death. You don't have to worry about that, as I already have a definition, and I'll go over in this video like the overused points that I've already talked about in my other videos that you could go watch, which I feel like do a better job at times like debunking them. But but I feel like to like start off, I guess this one year of being on YouTube since my first video, I'm gonna make a video on Animal Man. The truth is that I always wanted to make a video on this guy since even before I started my channel 2 years. Before I wanted to start him, I had this video planned already in 2024 since June. Since I was working on videos for that long, and I like already had scripts and everything. Like, and so and plus I still have a couple scripts lying around that I haven't gotten done to editing and recording yet. So I want to say thanks. But anyway, as I'm making this video, I feel the issue with the Animal Man's video on Jurassic World is that I had to cut it up into two parts because like this was already extremely hard to write. As like even back then during 2024, I was like really struggling to write this because of constant repeated points, and it was really annoying with repeated arguments. I didn't really like it as it just kept leading to more and more annoyance. So like I just never really liked it because this video was already really hard with, for one, the guy constantly commenting across as condescending throughout the whole video, and most of his jokes not really being funny. Because like unlike the Mahler video where at least Mahler properly laid out his points and wasn't too annoying about it, here he's just kind of sounds like an obnoxious 5-year-old who wants attention the entire time, which is kind of the best way to put it. While I don't have any real hatred towards this creator, since I don't really see him as a bad person, while he does do some questionable things in this video, it's nothing like racist or anything like that. But he's just a bad critic, not really a bad person. And you will see.
Following me for a while, or have seen more than one of my videos, you probably know my stance on the Jurassic World movies. I can't stand them. They're full of plot conveniences, characters making stupid decisions that lead to the mass murder of innocent people, and worst of all, scientific inaccuracies. And it's not like they're chill ones either, like some dinosaurs having feathers in real life but not in the movies. Like, those things are pretty recent discoveries and I don't mind too much. It's when the sizes are greatly exaggerated for the sake of a spectacle.
So I'm going to be going over the inaccuracies later in this video, but this is speculation and just not true. Like, like we should not be doing speculation as much since it's just unprofessional, and we should try to at least keep it to like speculation to a bare minimum. And when we do speculate, we should at least like try to not like sound like to at least make it clear that this is just like speculation so people don't get the wrong idea. And while with like certain incidents there are going to be examples where we are going to have to naturally speculate over something, whether it be political or not, you can't like like unlike some situations like that, you can't really like unlike here, like this is kind of like a bit like it also can like lead to like a more annoying discourse between people and like such a mundane thing like this where like while I'm someone who decided to like go out of my way to try to debunk misinformation, we shouldn't be like creating this much pointless speculation on something that we don't know. And we at least, even if it's political, we should at least have some kind of proof that we can prove upon.
And when the dinos act completely differently to their real life counterparts. Because people take these movies at face value, think everything in them is 100% real, and try to correct people online with the only source being that they saw big dinosaur on big screen.
Oh, come on, dude. Like, you shouldn't just go around saying that to people. Like, you're kind of just coming across as just a douchebag. If, like, that's kind of the best way to put it, because, listen, like, I've seen tons of people, regardless of whether or not they like these films, get confused with real life dinosaurs and what they look like. And keep in mind, a lot of, like, a lot of paleontology and the increase in interest came from Jurassic Park. It was the release of that film that increased the interest. Like, that's so asinine. Like, I don't know what you're expecting. Like, like, it's just dumb. Because, of course, now you're just coming across as mean-spirited and stupid because like tons of people you could talk to them because like dinosaurs because of Jurassic Park, and regardless of whether or not Jurassic Park and the other movies are good is irrelevant because they still brought people into this franchise regardless of you liking that or not.
There's also the issues with the title of a movie called Jurassic Park when most of the iconic dinosaurs in the movie are from the Cretaceous period, but I'll probably have a stroke if I go on about this for too long.
Yes, it's not like one of the spin-off TV shows is called Camp Cretaceous. Like, why does it matter that it's named that? Like, it's from, that's like a big period of where dinosaurs came from. Like, yeah, sure, there weren't specifically like all of the dinosaurs are from that period because like you don't need that. That's completely ridiculous. And the way you worded it implied that the movies were named from the directors or during the production when it was based off the book by Michael Crichton, which had an Apatosaurus and Dilophosaurus, which were from the Jurassic period. Even like, so like, it's just named after that. I don't really see what's wrong. Like, I don't see what's wrong with that. What is wrong with that?
Now, having a channel name like The Animal Man, you might think it's a bit weird that I'm even spending this long talking about movies instead of, well, you know, an animal. But I do consider myself to be a fan of movies as well as animals, and there's no better way to combine those two hyperfixations than torturing myself to make this video. I'll be dissecting these movies not only for their terrible writing or just general disease-causing moments, but also for the insane amount of dinosaur inaccuracies that plague, well, all 6 of these movies. But I'll only be talking about the Jurassic World trilogy for now. Also, don't get me wrong, the original Jurassic Park is a great movie. Often while making videos, I'll use clips from the movie and actually enjoy watching through them while deciding which parts to cut out and use. And even though it does have its fair share of plot holes, like the T-Rex somehow escaping despite there being a massive fucking wall it needs to climb and then 2 children being able to resist said T-Rex,
I will give the Animal Man this. At least he's willing to admit that the first films weren't entirely perfectly scientifically accurate. Since to say that is like a bit misleading, and there are a lot of other critics who kind of put Jurassic Park to that standard. Yes, there is a T-Rex, there is a path that comes up to the side of the T-Rex enclosure, since it's not that hard to explain, but I know that there is a shot in the movie. I tried looking for it, but I couldn't find it. That basically, that there is, the T-Rex simply just took the path on the side all the way up from the enclosure, which is what it comes up to feed it. And then, as the car was being pushed inside of it, they obviously were pushed over the edge. It's really just that simple. It's not really that complicated. And the reason why the T-Rex attacked the Jeep was because it thought it was an organism like the rest of it. Like what it just saw. It just thought it was some kind of animal, so it tried eating it. But, and as it was biting into the Jeep the whole time, it was constantly confused, and it kept changing bites trying to find the meat, only to realize that this isn't food. It's just quite literally chewing at nothing, and didn't really find any nutrition. It's really that simple.
The movie's other positive factors and general entertainment value allow me to put my annoyances aside. Now, this video will likely anger a certain demographic, that being the avid Jurassic World lovers, and I like to allow the people within this demographic to either click off the video now or leave an angry comment if they haven't already, calling me all types of horrendous slurs and insults, or even just to threaten my life. Now, I need to emphasize, I do not fucking care about the lore where the Spino is endangered and therefore wouldn't be another movie. Can't they make more?
The Spinosaurus wasn't relevant, so there wouldn't have been really a point to bring him up in any of the films. As I have to keep explaining this, you can't just go and bring up irrelevant information that isn't relevant to what's going on. That just doesn't work. For example, you can't just go around and explain a bunch of pointless crap that won't matter at this point in the film. Even if it's, important later, it really doesn't matter. And that, at best, you should, if you want to, set up for something, you should just put in a line like that. And again, the Spinosaurus never appears in any of the films. We don't know what its current status is. As only looking at the films and ignoring everything else, we don't know that, because for all we know, the Spinosaurus could be on the island, on Nublar at that point of time, but we simply don't know, or if InGen went and cloned many more. It might have it might not have been off the tables that they just went to Sorna and found some kind of Spinosaurus and then cloned more. It's not out of the realm of possibility.
Or whatever other dumb shit the director made up after the fact when people started making fun of their movie.
What? You just completely took that video out of its original context. That's not even true at all about what happened in that video in the slightest.
Audiences across the globe. Now that our trilogy is available to watch at home, I want to ask you a small favor. If you've ever plugged in a new TV and felt something wrong that you can't quite put your finger on, that's called motion smoothing. Unfortunately, these settings are applied as a default, so your television will distort the image right out of the box, unless you fix it. For those of you who choose to watch Jurassic World Dominion at home, I encourage you to do so in Filmmaker mode. Filmmaker mode resets the motion smoothing on your TV so you can experience the film as it was intended to be seen, Not just by our creative team, but by the hardworking craftspeople who've been making movies this way for more than 80 years. Thanks for taking a minute. I hope you enjoy the film.
Like, this isn't even mean-spirited at this point. You just completely took him out of context. Like, no, that's not fair. I don't need... Do I need to explain what's wrong with this? Do I really need to explain so? Like, this is completely ridiculous. But... this is just... Like, you're a complete liar. Like, this is completely unacceptable. And, like, this not... Like, dude, your video this not only makes the video, like, was already a bit mean-spirited, but now all of a sudden this just makes it come across as extremely manipulative. Like, that's not... Like, look, just, like, even if you meant this as a joke, like, how is someone supposed to get that idea? And... I can't tell if this is a joke because, like, how the hell am I supposed to tell? This is just so manipulative. I don't even need to explain myself.
Also, Universal Studios loves to absolutely curb stomp anyone who dare try to use any clips from their movies on YouTube. And I'm not about to go up against an entire corporation spinning facts about fair use laws, so I'm gonna just use clips from the Lego game and maybe some other dinosaur games instead. This means that I'll be referencing a lot of scenes that aren't represented accurately in the game, so you'll have to use your imagination sometimes. Apologies to anyone with aphantasia. I mean, I'll try and make the clips relevant, but it's not always gonna be possible. Everyone got all that? Let's get ready to be miserable while we rip apart these fucking mass-produced Hollywood ball-busting abominations that dare to be labeled as...
Can you please explain why does Jurassic World not qualify as a movie? Like, come on, man. I don't know if this is a joke. And also, I think I want to dedicate a bit of time to explain something. If you're making a satire of some kind of video where you make a lot of jokes, you kind of have to be clear about whether or not this is meant to be as a joke. So if this is not made clear in in the video itself that's meant as a joke, then I'm gonna treat it with 100% seriousness. Since, like, I don't know your intention because I am not you. I don't know if everything here is meant to be some great joke. I don't know if this is a joke. Like, there's nothing for me to say here. That's just, like, that's all really it. It's just a bit ridiculous, man. Man, jeez.
The first Jurassic World is definitely the best of the three, a statement that can be taken as either high praise or a harrowing foreshadow of unrelenting nightmares to come. For me, it's more of the latter. I saw it in cinemas on opening weekend because I was like 12 and borderline autistic. I saw Big Dinosaurs and loved it. However, I am no longer 12, no comment on the autism, and I struggled to get through a rewatch of this movie without the help of my friend Jim. The movie starts like any other, with the title cards of various studios, and then we get a 60-second long shot that pans between two CGI eggs while generic text states the names of the fucking studios we just saw again before zooming in on a slimy lizard in the first CGI egg while dramatic music plays.
Really? We're really here talking about them using the Universal Studios logo twice at the beginning. That's what we're talking about. Like, even as I wrote down this script, like, all the way back in 2024, and now in 2026, even as I was finishing the script this year, I kind of just feel like that just makes this entirely irrelevant, since why the fuck are we talking about this of all things? Like, if you want more context for what he's referring to, if you watch the beginning of the movie, they show, like, they say Universal Studios twice. But, like, it's kind of a bit weird, and I couldn't really find anything of it on YouTube. But this is just embarrassing. I don't even need to explain this. Let's just move on. Can we just go and talk about things that, like, that are more detrimental to the viewing experience of Jurassic World?
Then the screen is overtaken by glare like you just looked directly at the sun while we hear a weird gurgly roar sound effect. What the fuck? This is a good introduction to the movie's editing style, which is fucking horrendous and borderline incomprehensible at times. A style which I can only attribute to the director, Colin Trevorrow's, however the fuck you pronounce it, sheer incompetence, or honestly just lack of care. Probably knew he didn't need to try for this movie to make money, and he was right, because it made $500 million in its opening weekend.
How the hell am I supposed to take any of this seriously? Like, you just... again, like, to touch the editing now, like, the editing's fine. I don't see anything wrong with it. If you watch it, it's like this is like perfectly fine for like a show. I would say the editing's mostly pretty good. Like you did provide, all you did was provide some specific examples, but you never actually explained why the editing is bad. So again, I don't really have much of a counter argument to say, since that's just another vague criticism that I don't know what much else to say. Again, like, and another thing, um, we don't know why Colin joined the film in the first place as the director, and like you can't just attribute a movie to making billions of dollars to be lazy, since would you say like the first Jurassic Park film's lazy simply due to the fact that it made billions of dollars? And like you're kind of implying he's greedy and incompetent. Like why? What's your beef with Colin? You're acting like he shot your dog or something. What the hell did he do to you, man? Like, what the fuck?
The screen glare then fades into snow as we get a jump scare bird foot with a stomping sound effect. Get it? You're supposed to think it's a dinosaur, but it's a little birdie. Had to be a CGI birdie, not a real one, because that's too hard. We gotta make room for the dinosaurs. We gotta get to fucking Chris Pratt and fucking businesswoman and fuck.
What the fuck is this piece of shit?
How the hell are they going to train a bird to do that? Training animals to be actors has been tried before due to, like, due to, like, it has been tried, but, like, it's usually hard for many different reasons. Firstly, the main reason why they don't do this is because filmmakers want to avoid potential animal abuse. Like, like a horse dying from jumping off a cliff, a dog almost drowning in a pool, and many more. While with actors, you can like hire certain things, and there are safety notices that you have to do. Unlike humans, animals can consent to the things they do, and because of the potential way for animals being hurt, and the fact that some animals you just simply cannot film due to them just being too dangerous in general, like, and there's just too much danger involved, and like, and also it can lead to backlash from animal rights groups and the public. Plus, like, you're telling me PETA wouldn't be all over this if something like this happened? And two, animals can be really stubborn when they're filming the scene for what the film requires. Like, it could just randomly go, um, it can just randomly go, um, randomly not move or not move entirely. Like, sometimes you need it to move, and sometimes, like, you need that improvisation with film. It's really hard to train animals properly. Like, even then, like, I can, like, there's just too much. It's just a bad idea. Free animals are expensive and hard. Where, like, you have to spend thousands of dollars per day on one animal for, like, likely one scene. So, like, for the bird here, you're spending, like, thousands of dollars only for it to be, like, why? Like, that's thousands of dollars for one 13-second scene that they would have to spend countlessly when they could just CGI it. And CGI isn't just some cheat code you can just treat it like. Like, yes, it definitely costs. Yes, you can definitely remove certain stuff during the filmmaking process, but it's still expensive, and you can only go so far with CGI. Just because a film uses practical effects doesn't make it inherently better or worse. Like, there isn't a point for that. Like, I it's just pointless and overly wasteful.
We're then introduced to Gray, a heavily autism-coded character obsessed with dinosaurs as he looks through one of those picture camera things that cavemen used to play with. Like, seriously, which kid in 2015 was using these?
Again, we can see in his room that Gray is clearly obsessed with the dinosaurs. Is it not far off that he, I don't know, maybe got this somewhere?
The mum character then comes in and confiscates the medieval device and tells him to get in the car. We're then introduced to Zach, a 16-year-old who looks like he's 25, who's saying goodbye to his girlfriend who he clearly hates, which is further evidenced by him flaunting his negative frizz to anything with breasts throughout the movie.
This is not true in the slightest. Zach is never implied to hate his girlfriend at any point in the movie, and in fact, there is evidence against this. If Zach did hate his girlfriend, he would have tried to have cheated on her during his time at Jurassic World, since no one would have caught him cheating on his girlfriend in any way. There wouldn't have been a scene. And we are only seeing 2 scenes of him looking at a bunch of girls. The first one for barely even 5 seconds, which, yes, the camera shot here does imply that he did look at them, but there was no implication that was for anything like weird. Like, maybe we don't know what he was fully going through his mind, and nothing has been confirmed. And even if we go run with that interpretation with the second time this happens with the same girls, we don't know what's going there. And plus, again, that was only for 10 seconds. I don't think that's really all that like cheating or anything. Just looking and seeing if, oh hey, there's some cute girls, and then moving on. Because he never tries to pursue them. He never does anything weird with them. He never does that at any point again in the movie. It's just this one time that we see it. This is just completely ridiculous. Oh my god, this is annoying.
The dad says his first of 5 lines in the movie, and we're treated to Beats product placement, and they drive off to the airport. As the
Again, his dad is a minor character. Minor characters aren't meant to have importance. I think I really need to stress this enough, but you can't just go and make some random movie about any minor character. Minor characters and side characters aren't always meant to take the main stage. It's what people complain in My Hero Academia about how some of the side characters didn't get enough screen time, even though they're side characters. They're not meant to be the main characters. Listen, this isn't in a film or in any type of show or anime. If this character was meant to be a main character and played an extremely important role only to get sidelined later, then that would be a valid criticism. The difference with Jurassic World and tons of other characters is that they just simply aren't relevant, and like his dad, it is just a minor character. We don't need to have so much time spent on such a minor character. Yes, he is important with Zach's and Gray's development, but all we need to know is that he has a hostile relationship with his wife, soon to be ex-wife, due to, them getting divorced. This is completely fucking ridiculous. And again, product placement exists in every movie. They need this to fund themselves and get extra money from other companies. That's why you see product placement a lot. And even in this movie, it's really hard to see the product placement unless you've inspected with a fucking unless you inspected with a scope that's meant to scope the stars or something. I can barely name any product placement off my head besides that one car Claire is driving, but so quick that you would miss it, or the fucking Starbucks when the pteranodons attack people. That's it. And all I remember, that's the only ones I could think of. Can anyone name any other product placements that comes to the top of your head in this movie besides those 2? And even then, the Starbucks one, I I bet anyone really cared about it until I brought that one up.
Puck-ass children walk off after an extremely ominous line.
And remember, something chases you.
I don't really how you can see this as an ominous line. Like, yes, yes, Jurassic World is about to go to shit, but like, even in universe, if you look at the context, she's obviously being joking. She obviously doesn't think that Jurassic World is going to go to shit. Like, that's just a complete exaggeration. Just why? What the fuck is all this about? I feel like just why? Why the fuck does this exist? Do we oh my god. Look, this video was kind of just hard to make. But like, are we seriously needing to dissect the great moral philosophy of a fucking corny joke a mom makes to her son? Like, geez, I think my mom would make some kind of joke like this. Like, I could like even then, like, dude, do you not have a mom or something? Because this is kind of depressing, dude. Jeez.
The parents heavily imply that they're getting a divorce, a plot point that will be extremely unimportant going forward and be mentioned a total of like 3 times after this. Gray asks his brother dumbass questions and Zach is treated like an asshole for being pissed off and decides to take his anger out by staring at women.
This is wrong. The plot point about the divorce is brought up more than just 3 times. And I think like I want to do a part analysis of Zach's character, but let's explain Zach's character. The thing about Zach is that he's always being distracted by things around him. While Zach doesn't mean any type of harm towards anybody, like, he's always being distracted by his phone and he isn't taking the trip all that seriously, implying that he has kind of a disconnected viewpoint of things. The point, even Colin Trevorrow, which I tried to find the interview, maybe I could find it, but the point is that said that he was meant to depict like a modern teenager, and I think the point about what he meant by that is that Zach essentially throughout the whole film is disconnected. He doesn't care about anything going on in his life, and I think the point about the girlfriend and his other things is that he's disconnected from everything, just because not because. It's like keep in mind like it could be from like the divorce happening since well Zach didn't know about it since divorced parents probably didn't get along. It might not be out of the question that they got into a lot of fights over their life, and so as Zach is going through this, it might not be out of the exaggeration that he feels some kind of like depression over his parents and so he kind of cuts himself off from even his brother. While he isn't necessarily a rude guy, nor is he trying to be rude to anyone, it's just that he feels like he's bored of everything. He's always like tired. That's kind of like, and because like I don't know much about like the psychology of children going through divorces, but like, is it not, since considering how long he's been around, like he maybe became more disconnected since, like, keep in mind he was starting to become a teenager around the time of the rise of the iPhone, so probably around that time, like around when it came out with all the new apps and the new golden age of the internet. Eventually, like, it just became, like, probably like a scapegoat for him to make him feel happier about himself. Which I think is probably the best way to look at his character. But to get back to it, like, throughout the film, like, obviously it's not going to be brought up much because, again, Zach isn't aware about the divorce. Like, that doesn't mean like the parents clearly had tense relationships, but Zach never thought they would actually get divorced. The reason why they sent him to Jurassic World in the first place was because the 2 parents didn't want to upset them about the divorce. Like, and and it won't be the last. And then when he says later with the end, the point is that this won't be the last time they see each other. And it's also a bit of a sad opening because like I think the point is that like Zach didn't realize. I think Zach throughout the whole film became quite a bit like cold to his brother. I think that's and so later on it just eventually collapsed. And even then, like it would just be cruel and cold hearted if they all of a sudden just dropped this on Zach and Gray out of nowhere. And then just take them away from each other. Like so that's why they sent him there so they can basically be together since despite the divorce happening, they can still be brothers even despite what's going to happen to them later. That's the point. And this was implied multiple points in the film. Like we see that they had a clear tense relationship during the meeting where he makes a joke and then she just shuts him down, clearly showing that their chemistry is at low. And and then it's obviously brought up a small amount of times, and it's why Gray is so enthusiastic, partly because he wants to have a fun time with his brother throughout it. Gray is meant to play into Zach's role where despite even if eventually everything's gonna come crashing down and changes may expect on it, and while you may not have a great home life, you can still experience, there are still people in your life that you can have a good time with. That's kind of, I think, what Zach's message is with his whole divorce plotline.
If it seems like I'm rushing through this, it's because the movie is too. At the 5-minute mark, which, by the way, includes the title cards and the minute-long egg shot, the two main characters first get to Isla Nublar. Or Isla Nublar. Nublar? Anyway, we're then introduced to Zara, the movie's royal bitch who gets shit on the whole fucking movie for no reason until her extremely violent death.
No, Sarah was a bad babysitter. She didn't look after Zach and Gray at all and just did a bad job. She was on her phone and wasn't paying attention to them despite them being their babysitter. And Zara didn't do her job to report to when they did report nearly the whole island worth of it. Do you realize how long it took Zara to get back to Claire? For all we know, considering the film's time frame, it likely took her around at least an hour. And if she and if she was a competent babysitter, she would have already told Claire, but she didn't even tell Claire. And again, Claire had access to the camera feed, so she could have easily got access to it. And again, that led to them being put in danger by the Indominus Rex indirectly because of her actions. Because Claire literally could just look on the cameras and find the boys and then tell them where it is and then just do it. It wouldn't have taken that long. Yes, Claire's partly at fault for not obviously going with them despite them being her literal aunt. Yes, I agree. Claire being overly caring about business over literally spending time with her own nephews is definitely not a good look. Which is kind of the fucking point.
Ray then sadly asks where Claire is, which leads me to one of my biggest problems with this movie, and that's the portrayal that Claire is an asshole for doing her job and not being able to spend every second with her nephews. She literally has to get sponsors for their new dinosaur, manage park security, as well as keep her workers in line. And it's not like she's even that close with Zach and Gray either. They literally mentioned later in the movie that she hasn't seen them for 7 years, and she's treated like a cunt for not knowing their exact age. Who the fuck is even that close with their aunt? I don't even know if I have one.
The point in this movie is that Claire is a piece of shit. She's not really a nice person. Not a bad person, but not a nice person. Claire could have easily cleared her schedule and everything that day, and when her nephews were coming over, and she knew they were coming over. But instead, she didn't care and still decided to keep doing business as usual. While yes, she probably would still have to work, it would not be unreasonable for her to go and ask Masrani if she could hang out with her nephews. And, like, plus, what made this even more douchey was that Claire knew about the divorce, but still didn't do anything to clear up her schedule. And, like, there's so much more she could have done, but instead, she just decided to come off. And the fact that also essentially, like, it does say she's quite out of touch with the fact that she literally hasn't seen them in 7 years. And the fact that she, like, couldn't even name off the top of her head the last time they've met. Like, it's kind of obvious that she's just not really the nicest person at the beginning of the film, which is the point.
Gray's an arsehole to random people by pushing through a crowd just to see the main gates, and Zara explains how their aunt has given them all the best shit for free, to which Gray could not give a fuck and is in a rush for some reason despite being on the way to the hotel. I guess the theme song is playing the whole time and they needed the chorus to line up with an overly long establishing shot of the theme park. And this shot brings up some more questions. First off, that's the mosasaur enclosure, right? How the fuck is that fence supposed to stop it from just eating people whenever it wants? We're shown that it's more than capable of jumping onto the footpath later in the movie. Is that fence really the only thing stopping this gigantic monster? What about the monorail train thing that goes over it? Are they just leaving this all up to chance?
It's called bait. This is simple to answer. If the Mosasaurus went and jumped onto the fence to try to eat people, he would be immediately shocked and then would be forced back into the lagoon. This is basic knowledge. Like, then... Right. And plus, like, that's freaking concrete. Do you seriously? And plus, I bet it's way stronger than it looks underneath the surface. So there wouldn't have really been a way of, like, the mosasaur causing that much harm toward the concrete structures. And is not out of the realm to use other materials like iron.
We're then introduced to Claire, played by Bryce Dallas Texas. We know she's Claire because she just blatantly tells the fucking audience. Colin then pops off with the editing again, going from this establishing shot of Claire to a black screen, and then elevator doors open to reveal Claire. Again, but this time uncomfortably close.
Welcome to Jurassic World.
Why is she saying this? I know she's talking to the investors, but are they right behind the door? How did she know they'd be there? Are they facing the elevator waiting? Or are they just looking at other shit? What the fuck?
Yeah, I mean, like, do we really need to talk about the very deep question of what the hell Claire was looking at? Do we seriously need to answer this? Like, why? I don't really like to use nitpicking as an argument, but, like, do we really need to talk about this? And plus, like, when the doors opened, Claire clearly waited a second and she probably, like, when the doors opened, she saw the investors and then says, "Welcome to Jurassic World." I don't think that's hard to consider. I don't know why we are arguing about whether or not Claire... Like, what the hell?
Claire starts explaining random business bullshit to the investors as she tours them through her sex dungeon. She goes on about kids being bored by dinosaurs and they look at a stegosaurus the way they would an elephant. This is dumb. Coming from someone who's done plenty of work at a zoo, I think I've got a pretty good understanding of kids' behavior towards animals. They go insane over the peacocks that aren't even in a fucking enclosure. Sure, there's kind of like a disinterest towards animals like giant tortoises and some unmoving reptiles, but the elephant enclosure is always lined with a wall of children because bigger tends to mean more interesting. And this bitch is saying these kids, who are the primary dinosaur-loving demographic, are somehow uninterested in dinosaurs after they've only been around for what, like 20 years? Modern zoos have been around for more than double that amount of time, and yet I still see people and children interested. Plus, throughout the movie's many establishing shots, courtesy of Colin, we see children loving every fucking exhibit in the park, meaning this movie never even had to happen. So, what this dialogue conveys to me is that this flawed line of logic is the primary driving force behind the deaths of hundreds of people, leaving thousands more traumatized for life and cost millions, if not billions of dollars of lawsuits. And people ask why I hate this fucking franchise. It's because of stupid bullshit like this, that if any thought was put into it, the whole thing could have been avoided. But forget all that.
I've already debunked this. The reason why for this is because Masrani Global wanted more money despite making millions of dollars. And yet, they did it all for nothing, which led to thousands of people dying and being injured. And oh wait, that sounds like a certain movie that came out in 1993. I just can't put my fingers on what it is, you know? Something really doesn't add up. And I'm not bringing up the first film and all the double standards since, like, do I really need to explain what the double standards here are? Like, really. And I've already explained this in a different video, but like the point about the Indominus Rex is that it's meant to be out of touch, and that the investors are trying to be out of touch and trying to get like more money. But and instead Claire used a more corporate response to justify the creation of the Indominus Rex. And in defense of them trying to draw a larger crowd, like obviously they had a lot of money to back themselves up in case of failure. Since you have to understand that this isn't like a normal like zoo like Jurassic like Los Angeles or San Diego. This is like a whole resort, if anything, since this is all the way in freaking Costa Rica. Like, and the fact that Gray and Zach had to fly all the way here implies like you need to go to Costa Rica to get a boat just to go to Jurassic World. So it's not hard to understand that they need to have more dinosaurs as soon as possible. While they are not doing it for the money, they damn it. Um while they are definitely doing it for the money, it's not hard to understand why they would need more dinosaurs, because there's only one location here on Earth where you can go and see dinosaurs legally without basically being chased around by massive dinosaurs. Like, why?
Imagine that in this universe, where Beetlejuice is their Stephen Hawking, people are bored of dinosaurs. Why the fuck would you make it a hyper-intelligent killing machine that can grow bigger than a T-Rex instead of starting with, I don't know, a fucking herbivore? Why not a Stegosaurus mixed with a Triceratops? If kids are bored by a Stegosaurus, why not change it a little? Gene splicing is what they've done since the beginning of the franchise, and it surely wouldn't be that difficult to make more hybrids. The investors even say they want to be thrilled, and like, they definitely could be, simply from the principle of a genetic hybrid, something that has never been achieved before. They're even surprised that they were able to do it at all. And while they're discussing dinosaur sex, we get a jump scare from Henry Wu, who spouts some exposition about the Indominus, and Claire says that every time they unveil a new dinosaur, the park's attendance spikes, and they get global news coverage. Which just further pushes my point of why the fuck they had to make it a deadly carnivore hybrid. Surely you would leave that for later, even if it didn't fucking kill everyone. Every hybrid released after that would look like pussy shit in comparison.
That's basic marketing!
The point of the film is that yes, the Indominus Rex is a crazy powerful dinosaur that was smart enough to outsmart everyone there, because they were going for bigger equals better. So they would obviously want it to do cool things, and even Dr. Wu described it as you wanted it to be cooler, and that's really all you want. Like, also, we don't know any extended like they never said anything about the Indominus Rex being the first genetic hybrid, since all they said was that it was a genetic hybrid. They never. And plus, this project likely has been in years of production before they started cloning it, and it was before it was researched, and we see other hybrids around the end of the film in that one paper showing that they did have other hybrids in mind, because the point is that they wanted something cool. And while you could argue it was dumb, that isn't the point. Because because a hybrid dinosaur in universe is a large and big success and breakthrough in science, which which would be a huge marketing stunt and would already basically be a cornerstone in science. Like, I don't need to explain how insane this is. And also, in defense of the people in the film, like, when they were at the enclosure, they obviously didn't know what the Indominus Rex was capable of, because most of its information was classified. The only thing they knew was that the base genome was a T-Rex. They didn't even know about the invisibility. They didn't know about changing its thermal temperature. They didn't know about its raptor DNA. I feel like it's partly Dr. Wu's fault for this, for not telling the rest of the crew on the Indominus Rex about all of its DNA in case of a breakout. So I feel like it's also their fault partly.
Anyway, where were we? Oh yeah, we were 8 minutes into the movie. And we're being treated to another long-ass establishing shot of things we've already seen. We cut to Gray rushing through the park to get to this weird science hub, which is in the main pyramid building or whatever the fuck. And despite him being at the door before Zach and British Lady, the next shot is of both of them walking in together. Also, I just noticed this. They're on a tropical island, right? How the fuck are they wearing these clothes without insta-dying of heat stroke?
We don't know the fabric of Zach and Gray's shirts. We don't know what kind of fabric they are, so we're only just gonna have to assume it's like fine for the outdoors. We simply don't know.
They look at some dinosaur hologram that conveniently spawns as soon as they walk in and looks at them, and we cut to kids uncovering dinosaur bones in this weird archaeology exhibit, which leads me to ask if the bones get covered after every use. Are the bones real? Surely they'd be delicate and you wouldn't allow children to go anywhere near them. Is this some kind of special behind-the-scenes tour? Also, do they uncover this entire massive skeleton in one day? That would have taken fucking ages.
Really? This is what we are talking about? A fucking sand pit of all things? Like, dude, you realize that, like, these already exist in real life? Like, and often they're just rocky bones that are meant to look like rocks, and then kids can dig them up. Like, I grew up with these in my local museum. Like, do I need to explain how dumb this is? Anyone who's been to a museum can understand that in the kids section, sometimes they have, like, stuff like this so you can go dig up stuff.
We hear a voice explaining a few things about the dinosaurs, like their extinction and some interesting facts, and one of the mentioned facts is that a sauropod, which is the long-necked fucker, being able to use its tail as a weapon. This will be important later, so keep this in mind. Gray then flexes his knowledge of nucleotides at a 10th grade level, except the actor clearly doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about because he says guanine and adenine instead of guanine and adenine. Stupid prick. Also, it's a test your knowledge interactive standard that has no wrong answers, and the movie treats him like he's a genius for being able to do this. He says that they're the same 4 things in everything that ever lived, which, like, yeah, it's more correct to say the 4 main components of DNA, though. This is probably a good time to mention that I major in biology at uni, and of course don't actually expect this kid to know anything, and I'm just being a dickhead for the sake of entertainment. I do, however, expect the writers to remove shit scenes like this and cut down this horrendously paced movie. Claire suddenly calls out to them from across this busy, person-filled room, and Zach and Grace somehow hear her, despite that probably not being possible, but whatever. She then establishes that they haven't seen each other in like 7 years, and Zach makes a dickhead remark when Claire doesn't know how long it's been. Like, why does he give a shit? He clearly doesn't want to be here, and what 16-year-old gets pissy that his aunt isn't spending every second with him? She's literally at work, bro. Calm the fuck down. Then she offers to take them into the control room the next day, which for Gray would be fucking sick. Fuck, for anyone it would be. But instead he gets all sad like the whiny bitch he is, and Claire asks if they have bedtimes. A fair question when talking to children, but it's treated like she's a terrible person.
No, the issue was that Claire didn't spend time... Well, no, the issue wasn't that Claire didn't spend time with her nephews 24/7. The issue was that she didn't spend time to clear up her schedule and then go and deal with stuff. And again, Gray had an issue with the fact that Claire did know about the divorce, but, like, and the fact that they were literally coming here because their parents didn't want to upset them when the divorce happened. Like, the point of the scene was that Claire was like, and plus, like, Zach was right here. Claire basically was being a douche. Like, I don't know why you're making such a big deal about this. Claire was a douche to the rest of her nephews. I don't know why you should treat this as fair at all. Like, no, this isn't fair at all, man. Like, I mean, like, how would you feel if if someone you knew close to you, just any type of relative, just was like, oh yeah, by the way, I haven't seen you in, like, maybe 5 years, even though it's actually 8, and despite me having basically all the free reign here at this really expensive end resort where I can have so much time together, and I am a high-ranking member in this park. Oh yeah, by the way, here's this babysitter. Because, like, I'm pretty sure they're upset with the fact that they have to be with a babysitter they've never met. And then, which is kind of what led to them getting lost in the first place. So it was also indirectly Claire's fault for them being lost. Like, oh my gosh.
Next, we're in the control room, and Claire asks the two least important characters in the movie for some statistics on how the day is going, like visitor and incident count. These guys are so forgettable, I don't even know their fucking names, and I'm not about to look it up, so I'm just gonna call them Nerd Guy and Lady. Claire then roasts Nerd Guy's shirt and workspace when he's mid-sit rep, which is extremely unprofessional, and this is the first case of vicious nostalgia. Nerd Guy says how the first park was legit, despite it not even opening before there was a disaster, but okay bro. He also says they didn't need genetic hybrids, but aren't all the dinosaurs hybrids because they used other animals' DNA to fill in gaps in their genomes?
The reason why he said the park, like the original park, was cool was that the first park didn't have a hybrid dinosaurs like the first movie, and is meant to encapsulate one of the main themes of the story. The point is that Jurassic World doesn't need hybrids to succeed. It's already doing extremely well, even if Jurassic World no longer encapsulates John Hammond's original vision. That, like, are you kidding me? Like, this is completely ridiculous. Like, oh my gosh. And, like, that doesn't mean he was there, and what he's implying is that he thought the first park was cool for its original dinosaurs, and that it had actually cool stuff there, and that's the whole point of what he's saying there. Not that the park in general is good. Like, just the basic idea of just going to see actual animals, not things that don't even exist. I feel like this deserves a separate video in its own right. But, you see, Jurassic World and all of its dinosaurs are they use normal, like, they're not hybrids, not in the slightest. And I feel because hybrids are a misunderstanding within the Jurassic World fan base, because you don't need other DNA from animals to be considered a hybrid species. Yes, they do influence the creation of them, but that doesn't genuinely consider them to be separate species. To be considered a hybrid, you have to be a completely new species, like the Indoraptor and the Irex, which are hybrids because they are completely new species using other DNA of creatures, but all the other ones are still normal, just with the DNA. Because the point is like the Indoraptor and the Irex are hybrids because they're new species with other DNA in them. The T-Rex is still a T-Rex despite it having DNA of other species. It still has that integrity that makes it a normal species.
While he's explaining himself, Claire cuts him off like he's the one out of line and drops an agonizing product placement for Verizon Wireless. Nerd Guy follows suit and plugs Pepsi into Tostitos instead of doing his job, and Claire throws a hissy fit that technology didn't work as intended, so a dinosaur got loose, even though the situation was properly handled. Then she takes out a menopausal rage on Nerd Guy's desk filled with dinosaurs and even calls it chaotic.
Claire never at any point gets mad in this scene. The only thing, if anything, she's just annoyed that this is the third month, as stated by Claire, that the Pachyrhinosaurus has injured itself by the invisible electric fence. That's the issue that she's annoyed about.
My desk is honestly no better, so I kind of feel bad for him here. Another 400 establishing shots later, and we're introduced to Simon Masrani, the park's owner. He's flying a helicopter, and despite being 2 days away from full accreditation, fucking sucks at flying. I guess they established this so that when he gets bombarded by pterosaurs, it makes sense that he gets fucking destroyed, because any professional pilot is well trained in dinosaur defense. So stupid. He asks about guest satisfaction and animal well-being, and seems not to care about making money, which is a pretty accurate attitude of zoo owners, at least the ones that I've met. Claire says there's no real way to measure the emotional state of the dinosaurs, but there actually are ways of getting qualitative results, which, by the way, means a non-numerical result and more of a yes, the animals are happy, or no, they keep eating each other and attacking small children. He also asks to see the new dinosaur. Like, how the fuck has he not seen this gigantic thing yet? He fucking owns the place.
I mean, like, Masrani owns the place, so, like, it doesn't mean he has to go and see the Indominus Rex right away, and that doesn't mean he hasn't seen a younger version of the Indominus, since this is the first time he's seen the full-grown version, and we don't know what's preoccupying his time, because for all we know, he could be doing some, like, business deals or really anything else. And, like, and now this is probably why Claire's showing off the Indominus Rex to to the employees of Jurassic World because it's fully grown now. So is there really a point now?
This scene really solidifies Masrani as my favorite character. He just seems to want to enjoy living and wants every other living thing to be happy too. He's not overly concerned with money because there aren't any other dinosaur parks, which is weird because of how successful this place is, and knows the money will always be there.
Why would Masrani need another Jurassic World? Because they basically already have a monopoly on the dinosaur market. Where if you would want to see a dinosaur, you would have to go all the way to Costa Rica to see these animals. So if everyone could just stay there, everyone would just have to go to Costa Rica and they're just making as much money as possible. Is it definitely a bit scummy and a bit exclusionary since that you couldn't have just made other islands near maybe Japan or Europe? Yeah, but I don't really see from a business standpoint the point of making another island for the sake of being inclusive, since then they would have to manage multiple different parks. And again, we don't know if the whole plot point in Fallen Kingdom was the point that the DNA and how to create dinosaurs was kind of unknown to the public. We don't really know. At this point, they likely kept most of the technology secret, so then they couldn't have any competitors in the dinosaur market. And that would later, and plus, you could say it was a good thing for just one company to have it, because at least their black market companies, as their black markets, wouldn't be overrun with dinosaurs. And I think that's just way better. And plus, it could just lead to a whole mess. And I'm pretty sure that's the whole point, though.
Too bad he has 10 minutes of screen time. Colin then treats us to 1,000 more establishing shots and the characters land at the Indominus' enclosure, and the assistant pilot vomits in a bush, similar to what I do at 3 AM in Hyde Park. Masrani asks why they're still building the enclosure, to which Claire then claims that the Indominus is bigger than they expected, despite Henry Roux saying literally that same day that it would be 50 feet long and fully grown. So, is that measurement a new estimate, or did they plan for it to be that big? Wouldn't saying that it's bigger than expected be a good selling point to the investors if they wanted to be thrilled? Also, why the fuck did they not have an enclosure built before the dinosaur was even born? I swear that's they wanted it to fucking murder everyone.
The point about the current Paddock 11 is that Paddock 11 is meant to be a temporary enclosure for the Indominus Rex. Because in universe, we don't know if this is the final design for the Indominus Rex. We don't know if this is its final size. I don't think I don't think Claire was referring to the current paddock, but a different one that was meant for the public to see. Which is hence why they were designing a bigger paddock in general. Because they needed one for the I-Rex. That's what they needed.
Claire continues to say that the dinosaur started to anticipate where the food would come from, and that our handler nearly lost an arm, and a bunch more handlers threatened to quit if their safety couldn't be guaranteed. Okay, first off, no shit that this highly intelligent animal would be able to anticipate where its food comes from. Nearly any normal zoo animal does that, and you can see them pacing around the door the keepers come out of. I understand that they may not have known that it'd be super smart, but it's a massive carnivore that has raptor DNA, and everyone knows that raptors are smart, so they should have at least seen this coming.
Again, the raptor part of the Indominus Rex and its genome was classified. We didn't know at the time of the film, neither the audience nor the characters, besides a select couple individuals, what the genome actually was. And plus keep in mind, it would probably be good because they probably wouldn't want this DNA to be cloned across the world in case this genome got out into the public, which they probably wouldn't want. It's probably why they have it classified for whatever reason. And we still don't know.
Secondly, why the fuck are you feeding this gigantic beast by hand? That's how you die. I feel like losing an arm is an understatement for the size of this thing too. It later just eats people in one bite. And finally, jobs like animal handling can never have your safety guaranteed due to animals being, well, fucking animals. They can be unpredictable. If these fucking workers are looking for a job where they're in no danger at all, why the fuck did they start working at a dinosaur zoo? Go work with fucking snails or something, for fuck's sake.
even then, it's not like all the dinosaurs in Jurassic World are dangerous. Like, we still see, like, younger baby Triceratops being at a petting zoo. And again, we we don't know how contracts work in this universe and how they were promised by everyone. We don't know how that works. Even in the first movie, John Hammond got sued for a death lawsuit. So like you could get some dirt here, and we don't know that. And there have been plenty of examples where zookeepers sued the zoos for negligence, even if they knew the danger they were getting themselves into. This is nothing new, and even then, like, we don't know if any of these complaints are founded or not, or if those people are being completely unreasonable.
Hey, Masrani points out broken glass that's never present in the wide shots and asks like 50 million questions about this dinosaur. How has he not checked up on it until now? He didn't even know the fucking color. This actually leads me to talk about the design of the Indominus. It's actually one of the only things I like about this movie. It sits in this weird, like, uncanny valley of how we expect dinosaurs to look where, yeah, it looks like a dinosaur, but a few subtle things about it make it look more horrifying. Namely, its longer arms that it can use to stand on all fours and even be used as extra weaponry, and its spines and mouth that can open so wide it looks like it's unhinging its jaw like a snake. This is one of the only positive things I'll say about this fucking movie. Fuck, even this whole trilogy. So if you're a fan of these movies, I don't know, this one's for you, I guess. Anyway, back to Blind Hatred. Yeah, Masrani doesn't have fucking basic logic and reasoning and can't just assume that the Indominus broke the glass.
Couldn't they just trank the Indominus Rex and then quickly replace the glass? Like, it wouldn't be that hard to do, since we know in universe that they know how much tranquilizers it takes to knock the Indominus Rex out. So, like, couldn't they just have tranked it, then quickly fixed the glass? And plus, they could have just, like, tranked it, then just brought it over to a separate location as they do repairs. And then when they're done, pick it back up and then bring it back here. Like, it's not that hard to explain. Like, and Masrani didn't know what caused it. For all it could have been the crane or some kind of accident. He just asked a broad question, but that doesn't mean he didn't assume the Indominus Rex did it. He just asked a broad one in general in case he was wrong. Like, dude, that's it. That's all he did. He just asked a broad question.
How the fuck are they gonna fix that? If they take the glass off, the Indominus is just gonna go hog wild on them. So is there somewhere else that they can put it? Like a spare paddock? Or even a cage? Out of all the establishing shots that Colin blessed us with, I can't see another paddock where they can dump this thing while they do repairs. Speaking of which, how the fuck did they plan on displaying this thing? In a normal enclosure like the T-Rex? Or in this weird box? Masrani seems surprised that the dinosaur can see through the glass, and Claire explains that it can see thermal radiation. A detail that will be entirely forgotten several times throughout the movie. Also, I find it funny when he's surprised that it's white. Like, he seems like he's racist. Also, why is the Indominus eating its twin seen as evil or a sign that it's deranged or whatever? Animals do this shit all the time. Sharks fucking eat each other in the womb. It's normal.
Never once does it portray the Indominus Rex for being evil for simply eating its twin. Like, it's never seen as that. The Indominus Rex and its sibling already hatched and so killed each other from it. Like, never once do they treat it like it's some abnormality. And, like, I'm not trying to advocate that the Indominus Rex is a psychopath, since that is a misunderstanding of the I-Rex's psychology, and I wanted to make a video explaining the psychology of the Indominus Rex and the dangers of what it can pose. But the point about what it's trying to say is that you have to keep in mind that that's just kind of already like they just hatched from the eggs and now they're in and then they fought and so then they were like, okay, great, it just went and killed its sibling, but we don't know why it killed its sibling. We don't know what happened. So we have no idea what's going through the I-Rex's head.
Masrani then tells Claire to talk to someone named Owen Grady about the safety of the paddock because he's got experience with smart dinosaurs, and this is followed by my least favourite scenes in this fucking movie. But before that, we have establishing shots of bushes with kookaburra sounds overlaid. This is a tropical island near Costa Rica. Kookaburras do not fucking live here. We get a jump scare from a pig and are introduced to the raptors and Chris Pratt's character, Owen. I also want to say how he does not look at all like an Owen, but that doesn't really matter. The CGI on the raptors has also aged fucking terribly. Also, we've got another scientific inaccuracy. Velociraptors didn't look like that, and they weren't nearly that big. They're actually around half a meter tall and about 2 meters long in real life, and were most likely covered in feathers. The author of the original book said that he based the raptors on Deinonychus for unexplained reasons. But even still, Deinonychus wasn't that size. The Utah raptor was, though. So I'm confused as to why they even call them velociraptors when they're based off Deinonychus and are the size of Utah raptors. Like, why not just make them Utah raptors? They established in the third movie, God help me, that they're mixed with monitor lizards. This is a monitor lizard. How does mixing a velociraptor with this fucking thing make them 8,000 times their actual size? These things evolved into chickens, not emus and ostriches. Fuck these fucking raptors! Oh my god! I'm in physical pain talking about this shit, bro.
Again, you never explain why the raptors look bad. And again, I've already gone over the scientific bullshit of why this doesn't make sense in a different video on my channel. These are not meant to be accurate. Can we please stop treating the Jurassic World films like they're meant to be some super accurate and extremely accurate to the original source material, when in reality they really aren't, and it's quite misleading to say so. So can we just all agree on that, even if we don't like these films, that this is a stupid video? And I would say the CGI still looks great in the World films. And I don't see what's wrong with it. They look great. In the original Jurassic Park, at times, it looks I would say, the CGI there hasn't aged in great in some areas, because sometimes, sometimes they look too stiff. Sometimes, you can clearly see some kind of mistake with the thing. Sometimes they look too blurry when moving. Because that's the thing, Jurassic Park relied heavily on animatronics. So it's kind of a bit of bull crap to say so. It's just really, really unnecessary. Why? It's just... And plus, I don't think the Utah Raptor was known to be that big until it... it wasn't until, a paper in 1993 until they found its size. And while I am not here to debunk the scientific debates, as thousands have already talked to death about Jurassic Park, because, this isn't the point. I'm just, I'm not gonna bring this up. This is dumb.
Also, don't get too attached to these raptors, because most of them get fucking murdered like it's nothing. It's probably for the best, though, because this movie's target demographic can barely count to 4, and it'd probably be too hard for them to keep track of so many characters.
And again, I'll skip over this because this is too vague. Because again, you're just complaining about Jurassic World fans being dicks to you, and in the beginning of the video, but you're just completely being dicks to them for really no reason, the entire World fan base. So you're just kind of giving people a good excuse to harass you. Look, I don't condone harassment, but you're kind of gonna get it coming for you if you keep acting like a douchebag. Well, harassment isn't right. If you do something stupid, it's gonna come back to you in this, it's gonna come back to you like being hit in the head with a truck or something. I don't think I need to explain why this is dumb.
Also, Owen uses his clicker thing completely wrong. He uses it to get the raptors' attention, but in real life, when training animals, they're actually supposed to have a meaning, like when one of them follows a command correctly. They can hear his voice well enough, so he doesn't need a fucking clicky thing for them to look at him. He also speaks to them like they can understand English. I mean, I know that later in the series, Blue can understand complex emotions and language, but for now, they're all illiterate. We're introduced to this...
Dude, dogs can already... I've already seen, dogs on the internet that can understand some level of human language. And even is it not, and I'm pretty sure he just uses the clicker to get their attention. I don't think it's that hard to understand with basic psychology and how this works. It's not that hard to understand. And with the Jurassic Park 3 and what Alan did to recreate their vocal cord. And so it's not the question that Owen and Vic could have found some way to communicate with them. And But like that's kind of, but like we don't really know like, but like the fact that he still used the clicker is like really good. And again, like we don't know like what is being said with the vocal cord in Jurassic World. Like we don't know what that is, nor if that's like a good scientific basis because like that's just dumb.
French guy whose name I don't know and this fat guy whose name I don't care about, and they celebrate the raptors' training even though they literally moved like 5 meters, ate some dead rats, and ran off. Not super impressive if you ask me. The rotund, non-French guy says Owen has the raptors eating out of his palm despite the literal opposite happening, and I mentally check out for the rest of their conversation every time I've watched it. I think they talk about paychecks and training, but I don't know. I don't care. His roundness says that he needs a field test to see what the raptors can do, to which Owen says that they're wild animals and they'd be terrible in the field. And like, he's right. Even with service animals, it requires a certain personality that's hard to find for them to be even remotely successful. And these service animals aren't capable of killing a large group of armed personnel in a few seconds. This plan is insanely stupid. Even if you put that stupidity aside, the dinosaurs aren't immune to bullets, as shown later in the movie. They basically boil down to expensive meat shields with teeth. But the movie treats this plan as stupid anyway, so I won't spend too much time on it. Also, Owen is from the Navy. How do you go from that to training dinosaurs in a theme park? What skills did he specifically learn during his time in the armed forces that made him qualified for training extinct animals? Seems like a weird career progression, but I guess this is just to establish why he has heinous plot armor for the rest of the series. This shit goes on for fucking ages until a worker falls into the raptor cage while trying to catch a pig. Why the fuck would anyone care that a pig is loose in this raptor enclosure anyway? Is there a global pig shortage that I'm not aware of? Why spend time talking about dinosaurs in the army instead of why this minimum wage worker needs to risk his life for a pig? Is it really such a big deal that this stupid pink fuck gets ripped apart by raptors? Also, this dude falls from like 15 meters and seems completely fine. Surely he'd break his fucking back or at least be knocked out. Owen then makes his first of many dumbass decisions and risks his life for this stupid worker by entering the enclosure to try and save him, even though the raptors would probably just kill them both. Wouldn't be nearly as heroic then, would it? Owen then displays his desire to make everything as difficult as possible by telling the armed guards with non-lethal weapons to hold their fire. Why they even bother listening to him, I have no idea, but we'll go with it. If that was always an option, why would he even bother going in himself? I know he says they'll never trust him again, but it's not like he's the one shocking them. Dinosaurs probably weren't even that smart, so they definitely wouldn't understand what the fuck happened to them. And if they did, I think it'd be unlikely they'd blame Owen for it. Anyway, he goes in and does the thing from the trailer and runs straight up to these extremely untrained animals and somehow doesn't become the world's dumbest amputee. Okay, look, this scene has taken me around like 2 weeks to write about because I just keep having to take breaks. I wrote like 2,000 words for about a minute of movie and could have written more. It's my least favorite scene by far and I don't want to talk about it anymore. But I will use this time to talk about the fuck-ass Lego game because I have a decent amount to say about it and it was during this part of the game that I started to get annoyed at it.
I think the reason why the pig is there is so the raptors can naturally chase it, and if they ate the pig sometimes, it would cause a lot of money to replace the pig, hence why they need special gates for the pigs as it escapes, as if they were trained for it. And keep in mind, this person has only been at Jurassic World for a day, and so it seems like being flung into the enclosure isn't something that always happens. And here's the thing, and then later on when he's in the enclosure, the raptors still trust him. And that's the point. Being heroic is putting your life on the line despite it being dangerous. That's the whole point about being heroic. Putting yourself on the line despite it not being extremely safe. And plus, this is the smart thing to do here because then essentially they'll be forced to gun down the raptors, essentially putting Owen back at square one. And this also ties into his arc in the movie. That, again, I feel like this is redundant. This is just and also I'm gonna stop the video here because then he goes on to talk about the Lego Jurassic World game. I have played it, but I haven't gone to the Jurassic World segment yet. I'm still stuck on GP3, so there isn't really much so I'm not going to say much here. Let's just move on.